In The Color of Water, author James McBride wrote both his autobiography and a tribute to the life of his mother, Ruth McBride. Ruth came to America when she was a young girl in a family of Polish Jewish immigrants. Ruth married Andrew Dennis McBride, a black man from North Carolina. James's childhood was spent in a chaotic household of 12 children who had neither the time nor the patience to discuss race and identity. Ruth did not want to discuss the painful details of her early family life when she was abusive when her abusive father, Tate, ruled over her sweet-tempered mother, Mame. Ruth had cut all ties with her Jewish family. After arriving in the United States when she was 2 years old, Ruth spent her early childhood traveling around the country with her family as her father sought employment as a rabbi. Tate eventually gave up hope of making a living as a rabbi. He settled the family in Suffolk, Virginia, and opened a store in the mostly black section of town, where he overcharged his customers and expressed racist opinions. Ruth's brother Sam left home at age 15, and soon after, Ruth too felt she must leave. She wanted to escape the environment of both her family and the South. She was also pregnant by Peter, her black boyfriend in Suffolk, and wanted to deal with the pregnancy away from her family. She took trips to New York to stay with relatives and later moved permanently to Harlem. Ruth's family disowned her when she left, disgusted with her decision for marrying a black man instead of a Jewish man, her general failure to embrace Judaism, and her defiance of her father. Ruth promised her sister Dee Dee that she would return to Suffolk, but she could not reconcile her family's desires for her life with her own desires for her life. She betrayed her promise to return for Dee Dee, and her relationship with her sister suffered as the consequence. In Harlem, Ruth met Dennis, to whom she was immediately attracted. She married him, converted to Christianity, and became very involved with church activities. The couple experienced a certain degree of prejudice as a result of their interracial marriage. However, Ruth recalls these years of her life as her happiest ones. Dennis and Ruth opened the New Brown Memorial Church together in memory of Reverend Brown, their favorite preacher. They had several children and eventually moved to accommodate their growing family. When Ruth became pregnant with Dennis's eighth child, James, Dennis fell ill with lung cancer and died before James was born. Ruth mourned his death deeply and became desperate to find a means to support herself and her 8 children. She approached her relatives for assistance, but they refused to have any sort of contact with her. Ruth met her second husband, Hunter Jordan, soon after. They married and eventually had 4 children together. James weaves his own life story into his mother's story. Ruth's philosophies on race, religion, and work influenced him greatly. Ruth always sent her children to the best schools, no matter the commute, to ensure they received the finest possible educations. She demanded respect and hard work from her children and always treated them tenderly. She had an unwavering faith in God and strong moral convictions. To Ruth, issues of race and identity took secondary importance to moral beliefs. James's confusion over his identity, along with his grief for the death of his beloved stepfather, drove him to a phase of drug use and crime. After spending time working with black men in Louisville, Kentucky, where his sister Jack lives, James became convinced of the importance of self-reliance and hard work. He began to trust in God and to work towards self-improvement, owning his skills in jazz music and writing. During his senior year of high school, James was pleasantly surprised when he learned he had been admitted to Oberlin College. He and his 11 siblings complete college, completed college and led successful careers. Ruth remains close with her children and later her grandchildren, holding holiday gatherings that remind James of his household during childhood, chaotic but delightfully active and stimulating. As you can see, this book is very precise about the stories and events that took place in Ruth and James's life. I found the story to be very enticing because Ruth was her own person and her son James was the one who realized and respected it the most. She always did what was best for her and what she believed in. She didn't listen to other people's ideas that involved her because she wanted to be her own person and stand up for herself and her children. The author, James McBride, is not only a writer, but he is also a composer who has written songs for people such as Anita Baker, Grover Washington Jr., and even the famous show Barney. He is a famous writer for the Washington Post, People magazine, and the Boston Globe. He had 12 brothers and sisters and a white Jewish mother. I believe that James's purpose is to narrate and inform people not only about his struggles in life, but how to overcome your own struggles. Obviously, he's narrating his own life and how he went through it, but he also informs people about life in general. He makes you believe that although life can be very difficult at times, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can make it there as long as you take it day by day and believe in yourself. I would definitely recommend this book to any high school kid over the age of 16 and beyond. There are some violent and graphic scenes that happen in this book that go into great detail. This is a type of story that is an eye opener for all people, in my opinion, and I believe that people of all races should make the effort to read this great book.